The Evergrande CEO has been paid $8 billion in cash the past 12 years in dividends, despite the company going further and further into debt. I just want to say up front, I'm not suggesting any of this is illegal or accusing anyone of legal wrongdoing. Forbes estimates his current net worth at $11.5 billion, which is mostly made up from dividends since Evergrande's 2009 IPO on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. Despite Evergrande adding debt each year, they've been paying dividends every year since going public other than 2016. Given the CEO owns roughly 77% of the company, the majority of the dividends went to him. In 2017 and 2018 alone, he was paid a total of $4 billion in dividends for those 2 years. Yet in that time, Evergrande went from $179 billion in debt to $243 billion in debt. The company is now over $300 billion in debt after being $7.7 billion in debt when they first IPO'd in 2009. You might be thinking, well, we are not currently in a global financial crisis, so this is overreacting. But there are serious warning signs that this could kick off another GFC. With speculation, this could be China's version of how Lehman Brothers' collapse helped kick off the 2008 GFC. Whilst Evergrande is a property developer in China, it has far-reaching effects, and whilst temporarily we might have had some small market hits, the underlying numbers are concerning. With many experts predicting that so far they have just delayed disaster, and at some point it's going to hit hard. Evergrande still owes 1.6 million unfinished apartments to buyers who have already made down payments. They have other apartments they can't sell, which they have tried to offer to lenders to cover some of their debts. There have even been some reports that employees were asked to loan money to the company to keep it going. According to the New York Times, tens of thousands of employees gave the company loans after being asked to in order to receive their bonuses. Evergrande operates in other industries too. Back in March 2019, they vowed to take on Tesla, but according to Bloomberg, their electric car unit this week missed salary payments to some of its employees and has fallen behind paying a number of suppliers. The electric vehicle unit is a small part of Evergrande's wide-reaching empire, including financial services, banking, media, healthcare, but it's all primarily reliant on residential apartment sales. Their wealth management services create a double blow for any employees invested in those who also face the prospect of losing their job, including potentially money owed to them, and losing their investments on top of that. According to Evergrande, they have 1,300 projects in more than 280 cities in China. And until this year, the Chinese property market was booming. Demand for real estate in major Chinese cities such as Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, Guangzhou drove prices to among the most expensive in the world. And Evergrande took out loan after loan to meet the demand. But then the prices started to fall, and a tightening of lending also impacted the company. The Chinese government stepped in to rein in debt in the real estate market and to make real estate more affordable. It forced the company to offer large discounts to keep the cash flow running. Some estimates say there are more than 65 million empty apartments across the country, meaning the apartments Evergrande can't sell currently, which they are trying to pass off to suppliers instead of payment, will just create a situation where the suppliers can't sell the apartments either. Now, the CEO has seen a financial hit himself, worth only $11.5 billion now, when his fortune peaked at $36.2 billion on Forbes' 2019 billionaires list. And even this year in March, he was 53rd on Forbes' list of the richest people in the world. The value of his shares in Evergrande have fallen from $20 billion down to $3.5 billion. But even if it goes to zero, he would still be in the top 100 richest people in China. In China, real estate contributes 29% of GDP, which compared to 6.2% in the US, is majorly overrepresented, and it's become a major factor in how China has become a superpower. Yet it's estimated more than 90 million people could be housed in their existing empty properties. Whilst for now the worst fears have been delayed, as they were able to avoid missing a bond payment, but it's not like the company has all of a sudden had a $300 billion injection. If anything, unless major changes are made, it's just delayed the inevitable. And we just have to wait and see if that event causes a GFC or how big the impact will be, but it's hard to see how it won't have major global impacts whenever it inevitably does. However, just to be clear, this is not financial advice. Do your own research before investing in anything. A lot of other factors go into causing a GFC, but there are a lot of signs that the markets could be on the brink, and one major global impact like this could just be the tipping point that a GFC needs. Ultimately, it seems absurd that he got paid $8 billion in dividends to run a company into $300 billion in debt. Many have said the company is too big to fail and that the government will be forced to intervene, but only time will tell what happens. However, even if the government does intervene, it will cause other ramifications and it's likely to be a very negative scenario. This is a new type of video for me, so let me know if you enjoyed it in the comments and chuck me a like if you enjoyed it. If you made it this far, you'll enjoy one of these other videos, including another one I made about Evergrande, a company you probably had never heard of before that could send you broke. And don't forget to subscribe with the notification bell to catch more like this.